We were on the search for the Holy Grail of exhaust systems today. Welcome to another episode of Cobra Daytona Build. This episode, I'm on the hunt for the perfect exhaust for the coupe. I had 3 different exhaust systems on there already. I had the factory one that came with factory 5, the twins that had just perforated tubes in there, loud as all get out, 114 decibels in second gear inside the car. Ear-piercing loud. OSHA's limit is 85 decibels for 8 hours, way above that. So cruising down the road, not kosher. Then I built an exhaust system for Laguna Seca, which I think you guys have seen on earlier videos. If you go to my Laguna Seca video, you'll see the exhaust. Big old ugly truck muffler, quiet, under 90 decibels at Laguna, going up the, 5 to 6 turns. But it's ugly. Then I made this one. As you can see here is my single. It's a 35-inch. It's a 35-inch glass pack, 4-inch OD, 2.5-inch ID, with the little perforations, little fins there facing towards the exhaust. It is perfect sound. I mean, it is just ideal sound on the car. Not too loud, not too quiet, not ear-piercing. It makes sound at Sears Point, which is 103 decibel limit. I'm a tad over. If I lift just a little bit, I can make sound there. Laguna, no way. So it's still loud. 103 decibels is still, but that's full on second gear, wide open, 7,500 RPMs. So it's pretty good exhaust. I really enjoy it, but it doesn't have the look I want. It's got that Cobra side pipe, which is not bad. It just doesn't fit the opening in this car. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to take this exhaust. We're going to cut a little bit of it off. I've got some mufflers here that I had custom made. I'm not going to tell you who they're made from until we get testing done. They're 3-inch OD, 2.25-inch ID. They've got the little fins in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a decibel meter, not a cheapy one that you add to your iPhone, because those things, I tried that already. They do not, they just can't handle the exhaust sound. They just don't give me accurate numbers. So I'm going to buy, I actually got a nice decibel meter that's the real deal. We're going to do some testing for sound on what's on the car now. I'm going to mount these up, test this. Then we're going to cut these things apart. I got to cut a little bit off because these are about 4 inches longer than this. So about 2 inches on each side. So I'm going to cut the tips down about 2 inches, maybe a little more, maybe a little less up here. Once I get it mounted, we'll kind of figure out what I need to do and go from there. And then from there, we'll weld these things back up. We'll throw the new mufflers on the coupe and we'll see what the sound's like. But I'll take you through it. We'll actually do some decibel testing. And this way we get the real deal here and search for the Holy Grail. It has been a major issue with everybody who buys these cars with the Factory 5. The fact that they're just so loud, nobody likes them. Gas and pipes makes a great muffler. I've heard them, they sound excellent. Problem is, they won't sell them to you. So by the time you buy the muffler and the headers, you're into this thing almost $2,000. These, you should be into this about $350. So a little bit of work yourself. Yeah, they're not stainless, they're aluminized, but I'm going to paint them white anyhow. And I'm not going to ceramic coat them or anything. I'm going to paint them. That way I can touch them up because they're in a tough spot. They get a lot of rocks and crap that beat off of them. The front of mine are actually getting tore up a little bit. They're just rattle can black barbecue paint right now. And I'm going to use the same thing in white. And that way I can always just touch them up real quick if they get kind of beat up over a year or two. No big deal. Quick and simple. So follow along. We're going to look for the Holy Grail and see if we can find it. Thanks again for watching. Please hit subscribe, and we'll take you into swapping some exhaust and doing some welding. Thanks. Okay, so oh, by the way, as you can see, I'm getting more painted on the car, but I'm going to hit you guys up with a 4,000 mile update here, probably the next couple of weeks, and I'll go over everything we've done. So what I've got, exactly 2 meters perpendicular from the exhaust. I've got my decibel meter, and then over on the other side over here, what I've done is I've kind of covered the exhaust with this welding blanket to see if I can keep the sound from echoing onto the other side, because I think it does affect the whole situation. So we're going to fire this thing up. We're going to let it settle down to a nice little idle once it warms up a little bit and see what we get. Okay, so we're at a decent idle now. We're going to turn this thing on. So it looks like we're at about 98 to 101. Like we're about 100 decibels right now, give or take, 98 to 100. still pretty dang loud at idle. As you can see, this side here, I'm trying to block some of the sound out. Let's get the meter over here as well. This side's got a little rattle. I think the inside of the exhaust is rattling a little bit. Let's see what we get over here. Okay, so it looks like 2 feet from the exhaust is about 98 to 100 decibels, give or take. So let's turn this thing off. We'll let it cool down, and then we are going to swap out the exhaust to the factory 5. The tone is actually really good right there. Yeah, I really can't complain. Sounds really good, no issues. It's a good sounding exhaust system. So let's swap on the other one and see what we get. So 98 on this one. I've now got the duals, factory 5 duals bolted up. They're not tucked in with the body, by the way, because the bracket's hitting the bottom because I had to move the bracket around from my other exhaust. As I said, we're just doing quick tests. I did move the decibel meter, still 2 feet away, but the other one curved outward, was kind of directing the exhaust pretty close to this. So I'm moving it back, still 2 feet, more in line with the exhaust. I figure that makes it fair. So let me shut the hood and fire this thing up and see what we get on the meter. Okay, the cold startup is definitely a lot louder. I mean, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's got a totally different sound to it. So you can see where we're at now. 111 decibels. Same 2 foot from the exhaust. I picked up 10 to 11 decibels by going with that exhaust. Night and day difference. We'll come to this side. I'm going to cut those things up. They're going in the trash. Yeah. Okay, let me kill this thing. Okay, so we basically were 10 to 11 decibels higher with those twins. So now we are going to figure out what we're going to do with these. So I'm going to put you under my head. Okay, now you're on my head. So let's pull this one out. I'm going to grab this tip. We're going to figure out where the hell we need to put this, how much we're going to cut off. So as you can see, 4 inches longer. Hopefully everybody can see that. And I'm almost thinking I'm only going to cut, I may not even cut anything off the front. If I cut nothing off the front, and then the back would be somewhere into here. So this back's about that long. You know what, that's almost going to be perfectly centered. Yeah, maybe a little bit shorter. So maybe I'm going to cut 1 inch off the front and then the rest off of this. I think that would give me a good look. The pipe would be right into here, and then the rest would be all back this way. So let's pull the chop saw out. Let's whack 1 inch off of here, see if we can get these things welded on, and then we'll remount this thing up, figure out what we need to do with this. As I said, I think we're gonna have to cut 3 inches off the back to get these into the same. And I'm actually gonna angle them downward a little bit too, by the way. So I guess I can turn my meter off now. So quite a big difference there. Huge sound difference. 10, 11, 12 decibels. Like I said, these things are obnoxious. So let's throw these other ones on and see what we get. So I've got the mufflers here lined up. I cleaned the aluminization off between the two. So I'm gonna weld these things together. I wanna make sure that the things in here are the right direction. So we'll put this up here. Yep. So I'm basically, I don't know if you guys can see in there. Hopefully you can. As As you can see, I'm going to have the little scoops facing towards the exhaust flow. That will quiet it down. Cost me a little bit of power, but it'll definitely quiet it down quite a bit. So as I said, these things are 2 1/4 inner, probably 2-inch with the little scoops. So you got 4 inches of exhaust flow with each side. So that's 8 inches of total exhaust flow coming off of basically a 480 horsepower motor. Should be more than enough to not decrease any power or have any power loss. So let's get these things welded up. So now I've got the twins welded together. 3 tacks both sides. I'm going to clean up this now, and then we're going to try to weld this thing on, tack it on, and then we'll hold it up to the car and figure out this is going to look good or not. So we'll go out and clean these things up and continue on. Dead. So you can see the exhaust. It just fits so much nicer. And that's not set up yet because I just kind of quickly bolted on to do a sound test. And we'll come over to the other side, show you the single. It just looks just better having the twins tucked in a little better. So let's fire this thing up, see what kind of sound we get. So I'm going to turn the sound meter on here. As I said, this thing's going to be cold start again, so it's going to be a little loud. Now the idle's settling down. It's definitely quieter. Let me tap the throttle real quick here. Definitely not as quiet as the single. What do you? Okay, so we're gonna end this video here. Is it the holy grail of exhaust? Maybe not. Is it drivable? I think this one is definitely. It doesn't have the harshness of the factory 5. It's still louder than the single by, 4 or 5 decibels from what I'm getting. Once the thing settled down, you're definitely 6-7 decibels less than the factory 5. Is it the holy grail of exhaust? No, but I think I'm going to order 2 more and give it a shot. Am I going to make sound at Sonoma? No. Is it going to be okay for driving around the street? Yeah, probably, but it's definitely louder than the single by far. As I said, that 4 or 5 decibels, but when you get on that throttle and you wrap it up, it doesn't have that harshness that the factory 5 once got. So those things are going in the trash, unless anybody wants them. I got to cut the mounting brackets out though, so they're probably going to be pretty well ruined. So, holy grail of exhaust? Maybe not, but it's definitely good. So thanks again for watching. Hit subscribe, and once I get the other one welded up, then I will throw another video up, and at that point, I will let everybody know where to buy these mufflers. As I said, it's probably the same as the gas and pipes because I've heard those in person with a Coyote, and they're definitely this sound, not as quiet as my singles, but definitely this sound. So, let's see what goes. I'm going to order 2 more. Thanks again, everybody, and Merry Christmas if I don't put up another video between now and Christmas. Thanks.